1933, President Hindenburg invites Hitler to take the office of Chancellor of Germany following inconclusive elections. February 27, 1933. Berlin is set on fire. Marinus van der Lubbe, a Dutch anarchist, is taken into custody as arsonist and later executed. It is unclear to this day whether van der Lubbe acted alone or as part of a group, or whether the Nazis themselves started the fire. The Nazi government exploits the fire to declare a state of emergency. March 5, 1933, elections take place. Although this is not a genuinely free election, since many Social Democrats and Communists were already hiding or exiled, the Nazi Party gains only 44% of the vote. March 22, 1933, Dachau established a concentration camp open near Munich as a place of incarceration for political prisoners, and this propaganda photographed the commandment of Dachau inspects newly arrived prisoners. Day of Postum. After the Nazis gained 44% of the votes in the election early in March, Hitler forms a coalition with the conservative nationalists. On the 21st of March, the new Reichstag opens in Garrison Church in Postum. This day of Postum is intended to show Hitler as a conservative national leader, symbolically continuing in the tradition of German pro-Russian history. March 23, 1933, the Enabling Act is passed in the Reichstag, granting the government dictatorial powers for 4 years. April 1, 1933, Boycott Day. The Nazis proclaim a countrywide boycott of Jewish-owned businesses and shops. SA and SS men are stationed in front of the shops. It is the first mass action the regime takes against the Jews of Germany. Reform of the Civil Service. On April 7, 1933, the Nazi government passes the law for the reform of the civil service. The law bans Jews and dissidents from the civil service. After the intervention of President Hindenburg, Jewish frontline soldiers of the First World War are excluded from the ban. Ban on ritual slaughter. April 21, 1933. The ritual slaughter of animals according to Jewish dietary laws is prohibited. May 10, 1933. Book burning. Public burning of Jewish and un-German books by Nazi students in Berlin and elsewhere in Germany. Sterilization law. On the 14th of July, 1933, the law for the prevention of offspring with hereditary diseases is passed, mandating compulsory sterilization of the disabled. Coming into effect in 1934, up to 400,000 people were sterilized as a result. The law was the first of many and led to the program of euthanasia of certain classes of the incurable. Reichskonkordat. On July 20, 1933, the Roman Catholic Church signs a concordat with the Nazi government, making the Vatican the first state to recognize Nazi Germany. Havara Agreement. On August 25, 1933, the Nazi government, the Zionist Organization of Germany, and the Anglo-Palestine Bank signed the Havara Agreement. This allows Jewish immigrants from Germany to transfer part of their property to Palestine in the form of export of German goods. September 17, 1933, the Reich Representative Council of German Jews is set up through an independent Jewish initiative. It was later renamed the Reich Representative Council of Jews in Germany, a subtle but important difference, and was replaced in 1939 on the orders of the Nazis by the Reich Union of Jews in Germany. Seen by the Nazis as a vehicle for cleansing the Reich of Jews chiefly by means of emigration. September 22, 1933, Law on Reich Chamber of Culture. The Law on Reich Chamber of Culture is passed, barring a non-Aryans from formal participation in German culture, the arts, literature, music, and so forth. October 4th, 1933, the editorship law is passed, stipulating that all editors must be Aryan and that even being married to a non-Aryan is grounds for exclusion. October 14, 1933, Germany leaves the League of Nations. Hitler announces Germany's withdrawal from the Disarmament Conference and the League of Nations on the grounds that Germany was being discriminated against under the Versailles Treaty. January 26, 1934, German-Polish Non-Aggression Pact. Germany and Poland signed a 10-year non-aggression pact. April 22, 1934, Heydrich appointed to head of Gestapo. June 30th, 1934, Night of the Long Knives. On June 30th, 1934, Ernst Röhm, who was one of the first members of the Nazi Party, is executed on Hitler's Order. Rohem, who was appointed commander of the SA in 1930, wanted it to be incorporated into the German army. Because Hitler fears this emerging power base, Rohem is arrested and shot. The SA subsequently becomes less significant while Himmler's SS gradually emerges as the supreme agency of law enforcement and the implementation of racial policy. This purge becomes known as the Night of the Long Knives. July 20th, 1934, the independence of SS. It becomes an independent institution of the regime, no longer an organ of the Nazi Party, leading members of the SS. July 25th, 1934, the assassination of Dollfuss. He was governing Austria as a dictator. He was assassinated by a group of Austrian Nazis. He was opposed to the Nazis in Austria, banning them as well as other parties in 1933. The assassination is an attempt at a coup d'état. On August 2, 1934, the German president Paul von Hindenburg dies. Following Hindenburg's death, Hitler merges the two offices, president and chancellor, proclaiming himself Reichsführer and consolidating all power in his own hands. 5th of October 1934, the annual rally of the Nazi Party begins at Nuremberg, lasting until the 10th of September. The rally is chronicled by Lena Rethfe in her propaganda film Triumph of the Will. January 13, 1935, referendum on Saar. 90% of the electors vote for a reunion of the Saar with Germany instead of remaining under French control. Referendum is supervised by the League of Nations. The Saar becomes German on March 1st. On March 16, 1935, Germany renews conscription in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. April 1st, 1935, benches for Irans only. Benches in parks are being more and more marked for Irans only or for Jews. May 25th, 1935, the SA stirs up anti-Jewish riots in Munich. May 31st, Jews are barred from serving in the German armed forces. June 18th, 1935, Germany and the United Kingdom sign the Anglo-German Naval Agreement. It eases the restrictions imposed on Germany after the First World War and regulates the size of Germany's navy in relation to the Royal Navy. July 16th, violent anti-Jewish demonstrations break out in Berlin. September 6, 1935, the sale of newspapers to Jews is prohibited. September 15, 1935, brought about the Nuremberg Laws. Hitler proclaims the anti-Semitic Nuremberg Laws at the annual party rally of the Nazis. The Nuremberg Laws consist of two separate laws, namely the law for the protection of the German blood and German honor, and the Reich citizenship law. The first prohibits marriages and relationships between Jews and Germans. The second strips Jews of their German citizenship. This image from a schoolgirl's textbook shows the rules for determining who would now be defined as a Jew under German law. September 15, 1935, German banks are prohibited from granting credits or loans to Jews. October 18, 1935, people with hereditary diseases are barred from marrying.